Hi everyone, and welcome to the Holly Empress. Today we're doing a little bit of a different video, no tarot cards around, and instead I'm going to be talking about some of my personal red flags for when I'm watching tarot videos on YouTube, because of course I also watch a lot of them. Few little disclaimers before we get started. These are my personal red flags, and anyone that does this doesn't mean that they're a bad tarot reader or that their messages are like incorrect for everyone. Like there's probably people for whom their message is like perfect, everything, so good. It just means that they're not for me. There's enough tarot readers on YouTube that, we can just watch the ones that the messages are for us. And if I see these things like too much, these red flags, then that kind of tells me like, okay, your messages aren't for me. But it doesn't mean they're a bad reader. It doesn't mean they're wrong. It really doesn't mean anything except that the message is not for me, and that's okay. So first red flag when I'm watching tarot videos. So this is one where I have to watch a few videos to know if they do this, but it's when every message is the same message. You guys know what I mean? Like every video is the same exact storyline, the same exact story, just like so repetitive, you know what I mean? And like, to be fair, a little caveat, if like every single tarot reader you see is having the same message across different readers, then that actually means like you have a very specific thing that the universe is trying to tell you and you're not listening. But if it's just one reader and they just like always say the same message like over and over again, always come back to the same storyline, then it's a no for me. It's a red flag and I am out of there. On a related note, if that same message they keep coming back to is just like basically gender 101, like I'm out. Just like traditional gender roles, not even necessarily traditional gender roles, but just like mainstream gender roles 101. You know what I mean? Like just the most basic ass women are like this and men are like this sort of thing. And like don't get me wrong, a lot of tarot readers like know they should be woke and they try to be woke and they're like, the energy, it's gender neutral, it doesn't matter. But like you can tell that the narrative they're pushing is very much like a heterosexual like cisgender narrative. You know what I mean? It's just gender roles 101. Like I feel like this is just one example. I'm not saying everyone that does this message does this, but this is a common one where they're like, oh, this person is afraid of commitment, but for you, they'll change. They want someone, like they've been with people that aren't right, and they want someone to settle down with that's gonna like give them a home to come back to. Like, okay, so one of them is the man who sleeps around and doesn't like commitment. But if you're good enough at cooking and making a home for him, then he'll settle down with you and you'll be happily ever after. You know what I mean? That message might be for someone, but it's not for me. Next thing, when they're pulling like too many cards and there's like no clear role for any card. Like I think like at one end of the spectrum, like the people that really, really do this, like they just like start flipping and they go, the lovers, one sentence, and then they flip another card, or one sentence, another card, one sentence, another card, one sentence. Like, can we sit with the energy of each card for like a hot second before we move on? And I feel like what ends up happening is that like the cards don't end up having a clear role in the like overall narrative of the reading. So then you're just like lost, and it just feels superficial and shallow to me. So I don't like it. I don't like if there's too many cards and the like roles for each card aren't clear. Like, why am I pulling this card specifically, Next thing I don't like is when they have messages that are like too specific, or like make predictions that are too specific, like he's gonna call you in 2 weeks. Like, I don't love that. Or and like sometimes to like kind of diffuse this, they'll say like this really specific message, oh, this will only apply for some of you though. Like, then why are you saying it? You know what I mean? Like, I would rather you say a more general message that applies to everyone watching than a highly specific message that's only going to apply to some people. It's not always terrible to say a message that's not going to apply to every single person in the group. I get it, especially with the tarot readers that have like incredibly huge audiences. It can be like harder to tap in. But if you stay general enough, even with a big audience, you should be able to say things that apply to everyone in that group. And I feel like people have this idea that more general means a worse message or a more diluted message, which I don't think is true at all. I love general messages. There's no need for you to get specific, especially if you're like really in tune with your intuition and like really tapped into spirit as you bring the message in. It doesn't matter if it's general. Like, you can do general, and for the person that's hearing, they're gonna connect it to their specific situation like this. So you don't need to say specific ass things, you know, like, you did a pregnancy test 3.5 days ago. Like, no, I didn't. Oh my god. And this last one, okay, big number 5, right? Big number 5, worst red flag, things that annoys me the most when I am watching a tarot reader is that no matter what card comes out, it's always a positive message. You know, you get the 10 of Swords, the Tower, and the 9 of Swords, and they're like, oh my god, you guys, the blessings that are coming to you, you would not believe it. Like, right, I don't believe it. Look at the cards that just came out, bestie. Like, what are we doing here? Like, you know what I mean? And I feel like it shows like a lack of trust in your viewer, that you think that like we can't handle anything that's like too bad or too scary, and just like just a pushing of your own narrative that I just think is annoying. Like, if I just wanted to be told platitudes, I would just read a self-help book. I don't know. I'm not trying to shit on self-help books. Probably some of them are fine, but I wouldn't know. But you know what I'm saying, right? Like, if it's always good no matter what, like incapable of giving a like even slightly negative message, unbearable. I'm all for seeing the bright side, but the bright side doesn't mean anything if you don't have the shadow to go along with it. So yeah, hope you enjoyed today's video. A little bit different, a little bit more variety style. I hope no one's offended. This is not meant to offend. It is in a lighthearted spirit. You know, these things do annoy me, but just because people in the world are doing things that annoy me doesn't mean that they're bad or wrong. And it doesn't mean I'm bad or wrong for being annoyed, but these things do annoy me, and they do mean like I'm probably not going to be watching that particular tarot reader. But I wish them all the best and all the success in the world, and I wish you all the best and all the success in the world, and I wish me all the best and all the success in the world. So if you could like and subscribe to that end, I'd really appreciate it. It really helps me out. And let me know if you'd like to see more videos like this, or if you'd like me to just stick to the cards. All right, see you next time. Bye.